Okay, so today I want to talk about what you need to get started in pressure washing. I started off with buying a decent machine. I bought this Honda GX 390 for about, what was it, about 1,500 quid with 10 meters of hose and so on. It's got a 202 pump. It's 21 liters a minute at 3,000 psi. Runs really well. Never had a problem with it. Starts first time every time and so on. And I used to use that green bucket there, so that will give me about, I think it's about 200 odd liters. But I find that once I was digging into it, that barrel didn't last very long. So it's fine if you got a good feed, but if you don't have a good feed, it doesn't really last that long. But it'll get you started. So, and that was, I got that off eBay for about 10 quid, and so on. So you know, pick up the bits where you can. So doing it a little while now. Obviously, got a bit more equipment and so on. But let's just talk about what you need to get started. So a decent pressure washer, you don't need to spend 1,500 quid. To be honest, I bought that one there off of eBay, again for what, 600 quid, 2,000 something quid new. It's a 15 litres per minute, 3,000 psi diesel machine with an electric start, so it's quite a good deal. Works fine, and so you can get them on eBay pretty cheap, but you do have to check for the engine, make sure it's not knocking, make sure the pump's working, and a few other things. Yep. So a couple of things that I used to have when I got started was I had my all-in-one box. So in this box has all my gloves, my aftercare cleaning chemicals, my my hose, my oil filters or strainers and so on. I've got a bunch of cleaning products for the house around there, and then I've got my gloves, my bin bags, and then in here is anything. This is my go-to box. It basically has all of the things I need if I need something from a pressure washer. This is the box I go to. So underneath here you'll see basically all my pressure wash, all my tap attachments and stuff, and I've got my drill in there just in case I break anything and so on. So you know, I've got joins in there, got a couple of hose lock bits, got some insulating tape, and I also have my pay reader, payment taker there as well, so I can take bits on the spot, and that's easy to set up. It is a bit more expensive than others, but it's a good way to get you started. So that's like my all-in-one go-to box. So if I need any bits for the pressure washer, if I need to do a service, everything's in that one box. That's pretty handy. Then I've got a little watering can. Now this watering can has a nice wide nozzle. Sometimes if I'm putting down some hypo in a small area, I use one of these. Only holds what, 6 litres. So you know, you can go get a fair bit out of that, and that's just for nice localized bits. And then I have my aftercare products again. So I've got a bucket with my squeegee and my window cleaning stuff, because usually make a mess of the windows and the doors. And then I've got my sort of rags, my microfiber cloths to wipe down all the surfaces and so on. Now once I was going for a little while, I then decided to add a wet and dry vac. Got this on, got this from Argos for about 100 quid, because I had an incident where I was doing a clean and there was quite a bit of water pooling, and it was really hard to get rid of. So I decided to get one of these, suck it up, and yeah, I use that from time to time. Not very often, but from time to time, and it does come in handy for getting picking up leaves and other little bits in small areas and so on. Then obviously you've got your boots. Got some steel toe boots there. Obviously you don't want to be working in wet feet, so it's good to have a couple of pairs of those, and a good spade to shovel up all the crap at the end of the day. Yeah. And then obviously, like I said, the barrel, and also a couple of good brooms. So I've got a bulldozer broom there, a little short hair hard brush there for scrubbing in the old chems and so on. And then I've got some microfibers drying off there. And I also have my foamer, which I hardly ever use, to be honest, and my got about 40 meters of electric there just in case, and 50 meters of hose. It's just one set of hose I've got there. I've got a couple other pieces on reels, but that reel broke, so I'm waiting for a new one to arrive. That's all right. Now, other things that it's easy to overlook. Don't overlook your oil. Yeah, you should be checking your oil regularly. Yep, making sure that your engine's got oil in the, well, mine's got a reduction gearbox, so make sure it's got in the reduction gearbox, the pump and the engine. Yeah, keep it all nice and lubed up so you don't have any problems. Here I've got a tape. This is 30 meters, and it kept me in good stead for a little while. It does most bits. Can be a bit tedious. I have upgraded that since, and I've actually got one of these walk-in wheelie things that has a counter on it. It's got a counter there, got a counter around there, so it measures out how many meters you've done. That speeds up the job tremendously, so that's a really good thing to get. That was about 35 quid, and so on. Other things that you might want to get is your goggles, obviously. Now these ones, they fully enclose your eyes, but they get scratched to heaven. I find myself having to replace those like every couple of weeks, whereas the face guard actually is better, stops chemical spraying in your face and so on. They're about 10 quid each. The face guard one is the one I prefer, but I do sometimes wear a small cheap pair of protective goggles behind it. Yeah, you can see I've got my tips at the back. Obviously got the Jetmac sign at the back there. That's where I bought my pressure washer from. You can also try Rutland pumps, they tend to make some good ones. And also get yourself a pair of ear defenders, because after a while your ears do start ringing from this stuff. I've got 20 meters of hose, 10 on each side there, which gets you through most jobs, but obviously if you can't move your water source, then it's not really that big. Once that's filled up, it's hard to move. Usually I actually put it on a little dolly, so I've got a little dolly trolley just there. I stick on that, allows me to wheel it around and so on. You see I've got another 600 litre tank there. That's actually for my pure water, it's my storage for my pure water for cleaning windows and stuff. Also got another 500 litre tank there. That's my main tank for drawing from the pressure washer. So that's my upgrade from going from that one there. Yeah, I've gone to that one there, and that's my go-to one. That one's fully sealed and stuff, no crap gets in it like it does with that green one. You tend to find crap tends to jump in there when the lead's in there, and you don't get that crap in your pump. So yeah, so I got this one off eBay for 80 quid, but then I bought a second one for 20 quid, so that was quite a good deal. So 100 quid for two, and they're really thick. These ones, they're not cheap crap. They're the best part of about ½ inch thick and so on, so they are pretty good. And then I've also got my IBC tank there, which is 600 litres, but I don't find these, I don't like this one. It's the plastic ain't as thick, it's a bit more fragile, but I use it from time to time. Yeah, but most of the time in the van I've got that in there, and that's strapped down. It's got some nice grooves in there to strap it down, keep it nice and secure and so on. So that works out. Another thing that you want to get when you start off maybe is a sign. This is an old sign. Problem with it was, it says Jot Wash drives and patios and roofs, but it doesn't say that you do cleaning. If people think that you're actually laying down the patios. So I got a new one, but it's gone off with the van because the van's gone to get its have a medical, you know, its MOT and stuff. So but yeah, so with that, keep it simple. We wash, we clean drives, we clean patios, and then number, keep it sensible. Yeah, don't try to be too wordy. Yeah, so coming back up here, so again, other little handy bits, these things here, Velcro ties. If you're cleaning all day and you're basically on the gun all day, it can get a bit tiring on the old wrist. So what I used to do is that wraps around the trigger there, and it just keeps it pulled back. And I do it in such a way that I can slide it up and down. So if I slide it up, it's nice and tight, but if I slide it down, it then sort of opens out. So that's really good, especially when you're working with the whirlaways. So I'll just strap it around the handle. So you can see my lances up there, have it strapped around that. And then yeah, just keep it on there and just loosen it off when you need to let go of the trigger. But you want to try and stay on that trigger as much as you can. But in my case, because I'm doing bigger and bigger jobs each year, I've had to order another set of hose. So down there we got 40 meters of hose. Again, waiting on the new reel to come. It was meant to have come on Friday, but hasn't arrived yet. But that'll give me 40 meters. So the idea is, what I like to do, ideally, is leave the pressure washer and everything in the van, and then basically just roll out the hose line and the reel, and then basically just work from there. Saves having to pack up and set up and pack up, set up and pack up. You could just leave it permanently set up in the van, which is really good. But obviously when you're beginning, 20 meters of hose is fine. Small barrel, get you going. Yeah. Also this little gun here, see it's a nice short gun, hasn't got a lance on it. This is basically what I use to rinse down. Yeah, and I also use it for wall tops as well. It's got a quick release at the top here, so I can still pop that out. Get hard with one end. There we go. Still pop that out, put the turbo nozzle on it or whatever I want, and I'm good to go. Yeah. Now also, just as a little piece of experience, see those ones at the back? If you've got a machine that holds them in, keep an eye on them, because from time to time they can fly out when the machine's vibrating and stuff. Also make sure you've got a good pair of ear defenders. Yeah, so that's what I'll say with those. Other thing that you want to get, obviously, if you're doing patios and driveways and stuff, is you want to get yourself some hypo, some sodium hydrochloride, get some of that. Obviously watch how you store it, and there are rules around transportation as well. I think if you carry more than 20 litres, you've got some issues with it, so just be mindful. Most of the time I never use more than 20 litres at a time anyway. What I tend to do is I tend to break it down into sort of smaller bits. I've actually got my chem box here, so in there, so inside of here I've got is basically all my different chems, yeah, for keep my hands clean. I've got some acids, I've got some that one's oil remover, got my hypo, got my sprayer, I've got some decking and patio cleaner, I've got some oxalic acid for rust and stuff, and I've also got my Ben's bio wash. It's actually one of the smaller ones that I just keep in there. It's easy to transport and so on. So that's like my chem tray. Usually they're all bagged up separate, just in case you get any spills or leaks. You don't really want anything mixing. You never know what you're going to get, so they're usually bagged up, but I'm just organising at the minute. So pretty much everything there is what I would start with, or what I started with. So I think it's under £2 grand. You could probably do it for under £1 if you bought it all second hand and so on, but that gave me a good thing. These little buckets here are good. They're called Unibond mixing buckets. I tend to use these for mixing my hypo because they've got the litres on there, so you get 10 litres out of that. So I tend to mix it up in there and then transfer it into a bigger bucket so I can then brush it on. But from time to time, what I did recently, or at the beginning of this year, was I bought myself a spot sprayer. So now all my hypo goes in there. That's 95 litres, and so if I'm doing roofs or anything like that, goes in there. It's got a nice diaphragm pump on there, and I've just rigged it up to basically be able to soft wash. So you can see I've added a connector on here, so that connector there goes onto my soft wash line, which is this blue one here, or the yellow one, whichever one I want to use. Yeah, and then yeah, I'm good to go with that. And that only flows about 9 litres a minute, so not even that, probably between 9 litres a minute, 6 and 9 litres a minute, but that does a good job. Now I used to use these, which are sort of back sprayers. Obviously if you're walking around with a bunch of hypo on your back, it's not really good. I still use those for weed killer and that kind of stuff, but when I am using it, I usually got my waterproof gear on, so just in case it does drip off, then you know, it's going to drip down the waterproof gear. But to be honest, even then, most of the time I'll stick it on the floor, put a foot on the back, pump it up and spray. I've been using the one in the front there for about a year and a bit, but I do have a second one in the background there, but I don't think that's going to get much use. Now I have the main sprayer. Picked up that main sprayer there, the spot sprayer. I got that on Amazon for, I think it's about 170 quid, normally 250 quid. But I got it cheap because the box had already been opened. So keep an eye out for those little bargains on Amazon. Can get them. I've been using it about a year now, well, almost a year. I had no problems with it. Still looks like new. Just make sure you rinse it out as soon as you're finished. And I put it on a little trolley so I can wheel it around. I was trying to lift 90 litres all the time is a bit of a nightmare. And obviously we've got our signs there. I think they were $4.99 from where did I get those from? From Screwfix, actually. I think $4.99 each, or $2.99 each for some of them. They're quite flimsy. They do blow away in the wind. You're actually better off spending a bit of extra money and getting the more heavier plastic ones. Yeah, so they're good to have, especially on your commercial jobs. You don't want to have all your lines and stuff all over the floor and have someone trip and start claiming on your liability. So it's good to basically, yeah, have those on there. So very cheap. What I usually do is run my hose through the back of them and stuff, and I like them because they fold down flat so they don't take up any room in the van, and you're good. Then obviously your jerry can, got 20 litres in there, 20 litres for petrol. I've got another one there, 20 litres for diesel. I need to paint that one black so that I don't get them mixed up, because my brother was helping me out and he almost got them mixed up, so I'm going to paint that one black. Alright, so we're going to have a look at the tips later on in another video. I'm just kind of walking you through some of the equipment as it stands. So then moving on, once you got through some of that stuff, then the next thing I got was my whirl away. So that's been great. You do have to be a bit careful over joints with that one, and there are a few issues around it which I'll explain in another video, because you can leave rings. You can also sometimes stones jump up and so on, so you want to be a bit careful when you're using it, but it's pretty good. And also if you don't have the right nozzles, like when I first got, I didn't have the right nozzles, you'll find if you're running your machine at max, you'll find that the machine starts to jump around like crazy, because the water's having to recycle back into the pump, and it can't really deal with it. So make sure you got the right nozzles on the bottom of those. They don't usually come with it, so you have to make sure you speak to your dealer and get him to give you the right ones. So like I said, this machine here, Yanmar, wherever I see them, they're up for £2 diesel. Yeah, this one's all been reconditioned and everything before I bought it. Didn't believe the guy at first, but I've gone over it and it all looks sound. Test it out, starts first time every time, no problem. One of the things that I didn't notice though when I bought it is the connector is a lot bigger on this, so it's going to have its own hose and stuff, so that'll pull through a fair bit more water than my normal one. Yeah, so that's something to be aware of. But I got the surface cleaner and I got the machine for £700, so yeah, can't knock it. Yeah, so that's good. So keep an eye out for those bargains. Now this is one that everyone laughs at. You know, if you're a professional pressure washer and you bring out the old Karcher, especially this one, this is the cheapest Karcher you can get. It was about £60. However, if you've been using those big machines all day and they've been throwing all that noise out, people can get annoyed. So once I finish the clean, when I'm rinsing down, I usually just switch to that. Yeah, if someone's complained, I'll switch to this, and it allows me just to rinse down without any problems. Okay, so that's just a rough overview of some kit. Yeah, yes, you don't need all of this. This has been built up over the last 2 years. So yeah, build up slowly but surely. Just reinvest in your business and you'll be good to go. I've got a gardener window cleaning brush there. To be honest, I've had that about 7 months and I haven't used it once. I've used it on my own windows. Unless it's part of the main pressure washing job, not really interested. Windows, what, £20 for a trip? Nah. Unless I can get 10 of them back to back, not interested. So for me, the pressure washing stuff all the way. Yeah, you have to invest in a bit of kit. Actually, this hose actually weren't too bad. I paid $120 for 40 meters from Rutland Pumps. Yeah, it came next day. So yeah, good stuff. All right, so yeah, jet wash kit overview. Yeah, jet wash drives looking good.